Good evening, all. I would like to thank and welcome all of you to today's CEM dialogue organized by CEM South Asia Regional Network. Myself, Deepu, I am the regional chair of IUCN CEM South Asia Network. A little housekeeping before starting the session. I request all to keep your mic muted. And if you have any questions or comments, you can put it in the chat. We will be taking it at the end of the session. And after completion of the talk, if time permits, we'll be taking the questions directly also. The session is being recorded, as you might have already noted the same. And let me introduce today's speaker. Today we have with us Professor Lakshmikant Sharma, who is a long-serving commission member of IUCN Commission on Ecosystem Management. He is currently serving as a professor and head Department of Environmental Science, Central University of Rajasthan, India. And he has more than 20 years of research and teaching experience with over hundreds of peer-reviewed articles and multiple books and book chapters to his credit. He has his specialization in ecology and advanced remote sensing tools, and he has worked extensively on the environmental issues on Thar Desert, Aravalli Hills, and wetlands in the central India. For his academic and research excellence, he has been awarded the Best Teacher 2023 award and Aravalli Gaurav Award 2024. Today, he will be sharing his experience working on wetlands, which is a source of teal carbon resilience and can be a climate solution. So I'm passing it over to Professor Lakshmi.
So Deepu, should I start?
Yes, sir. You may share your presentation and start.
Okay. Now you can visualize. The slides is visible to everybody.
Yes, sir. Please keep it in slide mode.
Yeah,
Please
it
keep.
is in slide right now.
No, it is
No,
not.
sir.
No. Just a minute. Is it so? Now it is okay?
No, sir. It's not in slideshow mode.
Is it okay to everybody?
Sir, it's still visible as a PPT only, not as a slideshow.
Sir, please proceed side presentation mode. Slide is visible, but not in presentation mode. You just click presentation mode.
Yeah, I already F5 I already pressed and
No, you
it should
don't
be in
put
the
F5.
presentation.
Don't put F5. Please come to use your mouse and click that presentation mode, the bottom, the right side, please.
Maybe when sharing your screen, check which screen you're sharing if you have several screens.
Wait for just a minute. Just a minute, please.
Sir, please share entire screen and then put on slideshow mode.
Yes.
Now it's clear?
Yes.
So let us start with the Teal carbon resilience, the key role of wetlands in climate solutions. So this is the great opportunity to be provided by the IUCN CEM for me to present here before you the Teal carbon resilience, which is very, very important terminology. I'm just presenting here, and we will emphasize the wetlands importance in terms of the climate solution. What we are doing here in that way, we are just elaborating the things which is very important to all of us should know about this one. So that's why this is uh, a unique study by which Central Institute of Rajasthan is conducted, and we are just leading in that way. So today is the day by which we are presenting here in terms of the climate adaptation to resilience study in terms of the wetland aspect. So let us start with this one. At first, we should know about that what is wetland. So everybody knows about the wetlands, what is wetlands and what is the importance of wetlands. But as per the Convention on the Wetlands, Ramsar 1971, the areas of marshes, fens, peatland or water, whether natural or artificial, permanent or temporary, with water that is static or flowing, fresh, brackish or salty, including the areas of marine water, the depth of which at low tide does not exceed 6 meters, that comes under the wetlands. So on the basis of this one, we have taken wetlands, majority of the water areas, but uh, in our research work, we have taken a very specific terminology, which is very, very important. That is the inland wetlands, and particularly which is most important in terms of the teal carbon areas. So on the basis of this one, the wetlands are categorized broadly in three types, basically the marine and the coastal wetlands, inland wetlands, and the human-made wetlands. So these are the three basic types of the wetlands. Broadly, we can categorize. If you see the global status of the wetland, then you see the global peatland areas is in the forested peatlands areas is much lesser than the non-forested peatlands areas. And forested peatlands, if you say the continent-wise, then the North American part is much more effective there in terms of the forested peatlands. In Asian part, if you see in the right side, rice paddy field is showing a very prominent features of the wetlands in the Asian part, and in the if you see in the North American part, whereas the non-forested peatlands is majorly impacted, and the 48% in the Asian regions also impacted this one. So this is the global status of the wetlands by which we can categorize that how the wetlands are distributed throughout the world and how they are affecting in terms of the different type of the emission prospects. Now the role of wetlands in climate adaptations and the climate resilience. So everybody knows about the wetlands as a freshwater stores. Wetlands protect life. Wetlands are biodiversity hotspots. Wetlands are carbon sinks. Wetlands are sources of livelihoods. So among all these things, everybody knows about this one. Those who are closely related with the wetland studies. They know already that how the wetlands are very important right now. But the one term is very important here. The wetland are the carbon sinks. That is important in terms of the sinking capacity of the wetland, particularly the green carbon, or the in terms of the you can say the blue carbons, you can say. But right now, if the water is polluted, then the wetlands cannot be a sink of the carbon. Particularly, they may be the emitted or the polluter of the carbon in terms of the greenhouse gases emissions. So that is particularly in terms of this role, the carbon sinking capacity is very, very important here. So what is the need for the conservation of the wetlands actually? So you see, this is the Floyd and Conard et al. In 2023 published paper in Nature itself showing that you see in the left side that the graph is showing that how the the percentage wetland loss since 1700, and this is the graph is showing that it is declining in 2000 until now it is going to decline also. So that is the very, very fragile ecosystem, you can say, throughout the world level. And it is very, very important because the particularly the conservation areas through this wetland and declining is also a very great concern, not only in field of every kind of the particularly the cropland, forestry, peat extraction, and the wetland cultivation, pasture, urban, rice, and each and every aspect, it is continuously degrading. So these type of the wetlands, and you see the clear picture how the wetland is degrading from this 1700 to till now. So that's why the conservation needed actually. So now we are coming to the global problem, that is the climate change problem. The whole world is facing several environmental challenges that require holistic solutions. So holistic solutions, it means can we stop the developmental activities? Can we stop the urbanization? Can we stop the particular forest industry as they are cutting as the trees? And so many other things of developmental activities is parallelly going on. So the question is everybody's mind that how we can stop or how we can go through this particularly loss of this climate effect, and how we can adopt in this way. So that is the particular things by which daily we are just facing, like air pollution, biodiversity loss, natural hazards, food shortage, urban heat islands effect, greenhouse gas emissions, water scarcity, water pollution, habitat loss, all these and so many other things we are just thinking day by day, and even every day we are just facing the problems of this climate change effect. So at a global level, if we think about this one, that what is the mechanism or what is the way by which we can mitigate the particular challenges, then the different type of the terminologies or different type of mechanism we have to adopt particularly. And which one is this one? That I'm just coming to this one. Now the technology, now the mechanism is the nature-based solution itself. So everybody knows that we cannot stop all these developmental activities. So what should we do? So only the action we have to adopt. This is the nature itself healing the capacity to all these catastrophes. So nature-based solution will be an only solution by which we can create a solution for the adaptation and the restoration of our ecosystems also. So nature-based solutions, NBS, actions to address societal challenges through the protection, sustainable management, and the restoration of ecosystems benefiting both biodiversity and human well-being. That is the concept of the nature-based solution. Till now, there has been no agreed framework or standard as to what constitutes an effective NBS solution. NBS can provide 37% of the mitigation needed until 2030 to achieve the targets of the Paris Agreement as per the World Bank report. So the solution comes to the nature only, and it will come in the form of the nature-based solution. The term itself, the nature-based NBS solution, was introduced by the World Bank in late 2000, 20th century, and campaigned by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN. So we are very happy that we are the member of this particular organization, IUCN, and they are giving the champion by the term nature-based solutions given by this IUCN itself. And for what they are giving actually, for the biodiversity consideration in climate change mitigation and adaptation, it was given to this one. So all these criteria, all these areas which is below mentioned is given the term as the NBS as a solution they are suggesting for this one. Now, Jordan and Fowler 2022, they are just describing that in 2006, first time nature-based infrastructure was talking about this one in the term. But in late years, nature-based solutions comes into the force or in the effect of 2012, and NBS was a better solution was given instead of the ecosystem-based adaptation, ecosystem-based mitigation, green infrastructure term. Now it's come in the form of the green-based, nature-based solutions. So this is very important here because nature will provide the solution for itself for this particular concept of the mechanism. So why the nature-based solutions or nature-based NBS will into the force or into the effect of this one? That is come into our next slide. That before going to proceed, you just know about the spectrum of the colors of the carbon. So you see that in the picture that you see the red carbon, green carbon, brown carbon, blue carbon, black carbon, or teal carbon. These are the colors of the carbon or spectrum of carbon you can see there. So in recent decades, a color-based terminology has emerged to describe the distribution and specific role of organic carbon in environmental ecosystems. So you see the red carbon, black carbon, and the brown carbon. It is showing that a evil of the ecosystem, or you can say it is a hazardous carbon substances provided in the nature or in the ecosystem, by which it will be or it is going to be neutralized by the three of the other carbon types, that is the green carbon and the blue carbon. Now we are just talking about the teal carbon, which is also considered previously as a part of the blue carbon. But now we are just categorized this as a new category, that is teal carbon. Why? Because it has some importance, some specific importance in terms of the colors of the carbon or spectrum of the carbon. Now you see the red carbon. Almost negligible work has been done till now in the field of the red carbon. I have seen so many papers, but not much more as the other carbon. So a common pigment produced by the snow microorganisms and all living biological particles from snow and ice that reduces the albedo to survive this one. And this type of carbons particularly formed in the high Arctic regions, particularly where the mechanism of the oxidations was indifferent, and ultimately it absorbs the abundant green and blue wavelength of the light, melting the snow and ice. And in the particularly the high altitudinal regions where the snow is there, this type of the carbon, red carbon, is produced due to some of the microorganisms or the algal production is there, and they will produce or they will create the emission of the CHG gases. So that type of the carbon is also the red carbon designated. Black carbon and brown carbon, that is everybody knows about this one, that we are facing everyday problem by this black carbon and the brown carbon. Both are produced through the incomplete combustion of the organic matter. It also reduces snow and ice albedo. And you see natural such as during the wildfires, fossil fuel burning, and the industrial activities are also the major source of this type of the black carbon. Now I'm coming to the carbon which is particularly used for the remedy of this particular type of the greenhouse gases emissions. That is first number that is comes under this one is the green carbon. Carbon sequestered by terrestrial forest and the grassland ecosystem, that is referred as the green carbon. Blue carbon sequestered in the coastal and marine ecosystem, that like the mangrove, salt marshes and the seagrasses in terms of this one. So both the carbons, green and blue carbon, extensively used and utilized in our scientific community, and lot of research work already done in the field of the green carbon research and the blue carbon research. But now we are just describing here one more carbon type, that is the teal carbon. Basically, recently entered the carbon color and relate to the carbon stored in the inland freshwater wetlands. So that comes under the inland freshwater wetland, and the carbon stored in that particular ecosystem that refer as a teal carbon. So what is the significance of this teal carbon, and why we are going to this study? Because some of the important features are there. That's why we have just taken as the teal carbon. The teal carbon, particularly the significance is that it's a habitat for several endemic flora or fauna. Very large amount of the stored carbon in the form of the teal carbon particularly. That's why it is so important. Purification of the inland water. The inland water which is purified naturally by the teal carbon itself, which is the inland wetland ecosystem providing. That's why water recharge zone is there. Mitigation of urban flooding, mitigation of urban heat island, and the climate change adaptation mechanism can be addressed by this use of this teal carbon particularly. So that's why the significance of the teal carbon ecosystem is more and more right now. Actually the teal carbon concept was given first time coined by the Amanda and Nihalik and MS Sibon Fennessy in 2016. They have published a paper in Nature Communication, and they are referred one of the carbon types, the teal carbon. Basically, initially three major teal carbon ecosystems are generally recognized based on the Covardian Wetland Classification System 1979. So the term teal carbon was coined before this story was published in the Nature Communication, but first time widely adopted and widely circulated by the Amanda Nihalik and the Sibon Fennessy, and she is working in the EPA USA, and they are just recognized the teal carbon as a three categories of the Covardian Wetland Classification System. Based on this one, lacustrine associated with the lakes, riverine, along rivers and streams, and the palustrine, meaning the marshy areas. So three of the categories they have termed as a teal carbon ecosystem for this based on the Covardian system of the classification. Now, teal carbon ecosystem classification criteria we have adopted based on the Covardian classification system and the Ramsar wetland classification system. Both of the systems we have taken in our study, and we have taken a broad criteria to define the term teal, particularly the inland freshwater wetland area full of vegetation. That is, we have taken for this classification upgradation, and the specific criteria we have decided for the teal carbon study that the non-tidal freshwater or inland saline wetland with vegetation cover more than 25% under shallow water depth or less than 1 meter condition. So this is the more than 1 meter condition. So this is the way by which we have defined the teal carbon ecosystem classification criteria. And on the basis of the criteria, we have also taken the different classification pattern, which is already adopted by the EPA itself and the world level of the Ramsar wetland site, different coding sites. Likewise, you see the inland freshwater or non-tidal comes under the teal carbon. So we have categorized the major categories: palustrine, riverine, and the lacustrine, as well as the teal carbon ecosystem as per the emergent wetland ecosystem, subdominated wetland ecosystem, forested wetland ecosystem, framed wetlands, open water ponds and aquatic beds that comes under the teal carbon ecosystem. As per the US policy, they have categorized the coding of this particular type of the one by one. They are just coding this name. And as per the NWCA wetland category code and Ramsar wetland category code was defined. So in that particular study, we have taken the particularly three major categories, and particularly the Palestine, riverine and lacustrine. And under this one, we have also forested wetlands. We have taken major category for this type of the teal carbon estimation. So teal carbon stored in the inland freshwater wetland ecosystem. It is shallow and non-tidal ecosystem, inland freshwater swampy region, inland freshwater forested wetland, inland freshwater marshy, and other areas. That is comes under the teal carbon ecosystem. Now the journey we have started from our side, that we have conducted a systematic review of the global level of the teal carbon based analysis, and that was based on the establishment of detailed concept of the teal carbon. The database online available we have taken, criteria we have searched words, keyword search, selection of the relevant studies, analysis of the selected data, and the efficacy assessment of the teal carbon ecosystem we have determined. So our selection criteria, keywords, we have searched on the basis of this different criteria, criteria 1, criteria 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And we have just selected the keyword. We are just searching the topic online databases, wetland carbon, inland wetlands, freshwater wetland, non-tidal wetlands. We have taken as a criteria 2nd is taken as our study, because all these other terminologies are already based on the coordinate system of the classification system that was not dealing with the particularly the teal carbon. So we have taken the criteria 2nd for this particular inland wetland, freshwater wetlands, and the non-tidal wetland system. And after the categorizations of the bibliographic analysis based on the criteria 2nd, 2001 to 2023 databases we have taken, and the number of articles we have find out that maximum amount of the articles published by the USA itself, and India has 4 articles was published only, but it was not the teal carbon. They categorized as a blue carbon in terms of this publication. So we have just find out this study, and ultimately we find that you see, as per the keywords and the country wise, we have mapping itself, the thermal map we have just given. And in the wetlands and the peatlands, if you see this one, then definitely the USA and the China is a leading role playing, particularly the peatland systems. Canada and the particularly the Japan side and Indonesian side or USA, they are much more popular in terms of this teal carbon they are studying. And these are some of the keywords we have just described with this, particularly the global review estimation. And some of the wetlands also comes under salinity also, inland wetlands, freshwater wetlands, and non-tidal wetlands are categorized. And on the basis of all these studies, and we have taken the 24 years of the data set, eventually, the global representation of the studies on the teal carbon ecosystem was, you see on this presentation, that you see how the global level, the teal carbon study is depicted here. And you see the Asian region is very, very less studies we have find out this type of studies, particularly in terms of when you compare with this, the American regions also. So this type of studies is very, very important in terms of the climate mitigations and this one. So after all these scenarios, find out after the global survey we have conducted, the peatland, swampy, freshwater marshes and ponds, the teal carbon ecosystem we have categorized, and with the area we have defined on the basis of this publications and all these materials available. And after consideration all these things, total carbon storage in picogram, we have taken an amount of this one, and we have calculated approximately 501 picogram or petagram carbon it was stored by the Teal carbon globally. So you see the importance and efficacy of the Teal carbon, which is stored in our ecosystems. So the question is coming that why we are just doing this type of study, because uh, the the Teal carbon ecosystem itself providing a meta-analysis that this type of the carbon is more effective in terms of this current day situation, because we are living in a habitat where no any nature results is there. We are living in a crowded city environment. We are living in a very less amount of the clean energy or green energy is providing there. So in the crowded city areas where the forested wetlands, we have taken one of the pathway from whole the Teal carbon, that is the forested wetland, that in urban environment it is playing a very important role in terms of the water recharge, water purification, air purification, flash flood mitigation, urban cooling island effect, biodiversity conservation, habitat suitability, and the urban green space development. That's why we have taken a forested wetland as a Teal carbon source for the mitigation of the climate change in the urban city environment. That can be a nature-based solution for the upcoming research-based analysis. So in that particular forested wetland, we have taken consideration, and ultimately for the case study, for the establishment of the facts, we have taken case study as a pilot study project without any much financial we have taken from any agency. No any financial burden is we have taken. This is our own study we have conducted in the Kevladev National Park in Bharatpur in Rajasthan. This Kevladev National Park we have chosen for the pilot study to establish the fact in the Teal carbon constant that why? Because this is forested wetland ecosystem, and this is also comes under the Montreux site probably, but not declared as a Montreux site because it is some way it is conserved, and the effect is much more upgradation from the degradation site. That's why now it comes under the Montreux protocol site, and it is also a Ramsar site right now. So we have taken this one as a case study area because this is the forested wetland site, and we want to establish our fact in terms of the Teal carbon study. Forested wetlands confluence of the Gambhiri and the Banganga rivers, which is surrounding areas nearby in Bharatpur region. And total catchment area of this particular Kevladev National Park is 28.7 square kilometer area. The significance of the study area is that haven for the migratory birds. In 1981, it was considered as a Ramsar site. 1981, it is considered as a national park. 1985, it is UNESCO World Heritage Site. And in 2002, Montreux record, it is not removed from the list till now. So it is very, very threatening situation, and it is very fragile ecosystem there. That's why we have taken the study area for this particular Kevladev National Park for this study. Major vegetation type in Kevladev National Park is, you see the processes, acacia, processes julifera, that is also there, Salvadora persica, and Syzygium cumeni. These are the most vulnerable species there. Lot of species are there. We have conducted survey there. And above ground biomass, we have estimated that comes in terms of this 2,838 tons biomass per hectare. It was calculated. And you see in the carbon credits, if we have calculated per hectare, then it is 1,334 carbon credits per hectare we have calculated, and 21,597 rupees per hectare we have calculated. This much amount of the carbon biomass was estimated there. So distribution of soil organic carbon was also estimated, and you see how much the rupees in terms of the hectare per hectare we have generated there. Soil organic carbon, that is also most productive carbon soil was there. So this is also a very important aspect. And after that, all these things, total teal carbon credits in Kevadir National Park, we have credited 24,399 rupees per hectare. That is the credits of the Kevadir KNP. That comes, if you convert it into the US dollar, that is $292 per hectare. And that convert into the carbon credit, 1,498 carbon credits per hectare, it is converted. So that is the importance of the teal carbon in the Kevadir National Park. You can see this one. That is the established fact in this one. Now, the again question is that if the particular site or the particular vegetation types or the particular type of the teal carbon site is totally producing totally absorbing the greenhouse gases, that is the major challenge in the teal carbon ecosystem, that every teal carbon ecosystem, as like as the other ponds or the other river systems or the other polluted systems, it is also emitted the greenhouse gases. So that is the major concern, and that can be established by the nature-based solutions. We can minimize this one. That can be also a registered fact in that way. That's why this study is very, very important, because we have calculated also that how much amount of the greenhouse gases emitted and how much we can reduce this one. So the establishment of the fact of the nature-based solution as a major challenge in terms of the teal carbon is that the global methane emission, because in every wetland ecosystem, the methane emission is a major source of the greenhouse gas emission. So it is estimated that 60% of the today's methane emissions are the result of the human activities. That is fact already known by everybody. The largest sources of the methane are agriculture, fossil fuels, and the decomposition of the landfill site or landfill waste. Natural processes account for 40% of the methane emissions, with wetlands being the largest natural source as prescribed by the NASA 2023. So this is the global methane status. As you see in the image, that the Chinese side or the Asian region is also the major production of the methane emission part. So this is very, very scary situation in the Asian side, Asian region. So we have to tackle in terms of this teal carbon estimation, or using this technique, using this effective way. And we have taken the challenge, and ultimately on the basis of the our global survey, we have taken amount of the global teal carbon fluxes. If you see the peatlands, swampy forests, freshwater marshes and pond, if we are taken as a teal carbon in the flux, then you see the figure in the gram carbon per square meter per year. And if you see the methane and the carbon dioxide outflux, then influx and the outflux, that ratio is imbalanced. So that's why the parameter is saying that if the teal carbon ecosystem influxes, carbon influxes should be enhanced, so that we can reduce the methane and carbon dioxide outflux. And if the equilibrium will be established, then we can say our ecosystem will be sustainable. Sustainable development can be done. So this is the way by which we can use this particular strategy. So the methane emission in Kevadir National Park, we have taken in terms of this one as a satellite data. We have also taken for the study Sentinel 5P satellite data we have taken also. And similar study is going on right now. But on the basis of this one, we have calculated the result that if you see the concentration of the methane emission in the Kevadir National Park, KNP, you see in January 2024, it is highest in 1924, the methane concentration. And in February 2024, it was 1926.36. So it was increased as per the 1929 in April. as well as in March 1931. Similarly, if you see in the December 23, the study we have taken, and we have calculated the methane concentration, that is 1930 ppmv, and in October 23 1938, as well as in the September highest amount of the methane in ppmv we have measured 1967. So it means not only the one factor, so many other factors are resemble to the concentration of the methane in the Teal carbon ecosystem that is established. So what is this one? You see, similarly, the similar way we have taken in January, February in 23, what amount of the methane concentration was there. So we have calculated this one, and you see. So it is fact that we have established the fact that so many factors are associated with the methane emission in the wetland, particularly the Teal carbon wetland ecosystem, inland forested wetland system, that is water, temperature, and vegetation. So the role of the water, temperature, and vegetation, that was also established with the satellite data, and atmospheric concentration that was also varies in the range from 1918 to 1918 in that way. The average was calculated. Water availability, that is also calculated. NDVI values, you see this one, and the LSP also. So in that particular sense, we have also established the fact that so many other factors, not only the methane emission was only the controlling factor, water availability, temperature variations, NDVI means the vegetation covering or vegetation phenological changes, that also also significant factors in terms of the production of the Teal carbon or the mitigation strategies in the Teal carbon ecosystem or the inland freshwater ecosystem. So now the question is that how we can tackle this type of situation, or how the study can be a nature-based solution in that way. So the pilot study, we have mitigate of the natural wetland emissions, mitigation, we have used the biochar. So now the story comes toward the biochar regulations and the role of biochar as a nature-based solution to mitigate the wetland emissions we have taken out in that way. So another story we have created, that why not we should use the biochar to minimize the effect of the methane emission in the particularly Teal carbon wetland ecosystem. So biochar is also a carbon type, and the Griffin core, or you can say the pyrolysis process after the gasification mechanism, the oxidation process started, and ultimately the biochar will be generated by the different plant species based carbon based data, or you can say the raw material which comes from the nature based solution itself. That's why the picture comes in the nature based solution itself. So we have used the biochar, and ultimately we have also used the Lycor trace gas analyzer in our study area to establish the fact that this biochar can be a solution for the mitigation of the greenhouse gas emissions or not. So particularly not only so much samples was analyzed, but we have taken a very peculiar study we have taken out with the Lycor gas analyzer, and we have taken this particular study in our university campus, where the Teal carbon wetlands ecosystem was accessed there. We have the designated site we have choose for this open air forested or the vegetated wetland site. We have taken this one as a plot design we have established, and you see this is the Lycor instrument which we have used in the field areas or the marshy areas where the wetland was there, and methane was emitted, and we have taken the different site-wise or location-wise data after 24 hours after the biochar field site sampling we have taken, and you see the result was fantastic. We have find out, and it was said that this study can be a potential source for the mitigation of the climate change and adaptation mechanism in terms of the reduction emission. You see, The result showing, it's a very, very preliminary result I'm showing to you. And it sees that maybe the so many factors are available, but in some time, the natural emission was there in the methane emission, carbon dioxide, and H2O, and emission after the biochar addition. We have already shown that after the 24 hours, 1 hour, it was not significant reduction was there. But after that 24 hours, we have seen that it was significant reduction was there in the emission of the methane, particularly site, and somewhere the biochar may also not be working properly. So this type of the study is showing that before emission and the after emission, the biochar addition. If the biochar is added in the polluted water, then it can be a source for the sink of that particular greenhouse gas emissions. So this study's major takeaway that the availability of the water, vegetation, land surface, temperature, land surface LST have a considerable effect on the atmospheric methane concentration. This methane emission is the major limitation of the Teal carbon ecosystem to be a nature-based solution. So we are just working on that particular way, that how we can reduce much more methane emission in terms of this one. But definitely I'm telling that this study is very considerable only and only if the water is fresh, water is non-polluted, then only it will be a major sink of the greenhouse gases emission. And if the particularly the effective biochar, if we are using or mechanized in that way, that will be the fantastic result we can find out. So the result is way forward to each and every communities, which scientific community who are working in that way, that the proper management of these highly vulnerable ecosystems can be a solution for the methane flux management. Development of the teal carbon zones should be promoted for the sustainable urban planning. Natural teal carbon flux mitigation approaches like the biochar addition must be studied under natural conditions to minimize the emission. So this research is already, we have already sent to the publication in the science reviews with the help of our team partner with this one. Shubham is also working his PhD, first steel carbon based study in the particular site, in the Indian site. I think Shubham Kumar is going to be submitted in very few days. Amanda Mihalik from the EPA and Sibon Fennessy from the Kenyon College from USA. This is our partner, global partner, and we are going to send this study for the publication. And this floor is open for the regional global research collaboration, funding opportunities in the following domains: advanced remote sensing database or software, geospatial modeling of the greenhouse gas emission, greenhouse gas mitigation approaches using biochar, and development of teal carbon zones for the particular urban regions, particularly the mitigation of the carbon challenge. So this is the way by which we are dealing with the carbon change studies. The studies is also placed in the Hindu, which is recently published, and this is the way by which we are just doing some of the glimpses of our publications in the teal carbon studies. And in the IOFRO conference in the Sweden, we have also, I also presented my this same topic on the teal carbon mitigation on the global level platform we have already placed, and Toronto University of Canada is already placed in our team member. So this is the way forward. Recently, I have published one authored book on the conservation of saline wetland ecosystems that is also on the available for the online available for the reader. So everybody can also go through this one. Some of the glimpses of our study, we are doing so many things in the wetlands and the Indian drought regions and in the climate change research particularly. So this is our team. And thank you so much. For floor is open for discussion now.
Sir, you may stop the screen sharing.
Any question?
Those who have questions may kindly raise your hands and you'll be called upon for putting up your questions.
Uh, Hi, Dr. Sharma. That was a nice presentation. I have some queries about this study. And if you are willing to answer, then can I ask some questions?
I'm not clearly listening. Can you write any question? Can you write down any question?
Can you hear my voice, sir?
A little bit I'm just showing, but if you any question, then you can write down, please.
So writing down, it will take a lot of time. So, but I can
Okay, no
try.
problem. You can ask me.
Okay, sir, my first query is that you have talked about the teal carbon. This is a query. Does teal carbon include vegetative biomass or also include the carbon in stored sediment from the wetlands?
Your question is vegetative biomass.
I am writing, sir. I am writing.
Some technical problem is there. I could not see your voice properly. Dipu, some of the participants telling that they are muted. So please unmute.
Sir, everyone is unmuted only. Those who have any questions can raise their hands and raise the
But
questions.
some of the audiences are telling that they are muted. Dr. Rahul is just asking that does teal carbon include only vegetated biomass carbon or carbon with sediments also? Yeah, Dr. Rahul, teal carbon is not a sedimented based carbon. It's a vegetated biomass carbon. Firstly, so that is why we are just taking as a biochar for the nature-based solution. So yeah, it's very true that it is only vegetated biomass carbon. And vegetated biomass carbon only for the inland freshwater ecosystem, wetland ecosystem only. The result is very preliminary result, I'm telling, but this is the way by which we are just establishing the fact that this type of the carbon can also be categorized for the reduction emission, and it's a good type of the carbon. And so many, after the story was emerged out, uh, so many other researchers in the Australian University, New South Wales, they have created a very good lab established for the particularly the teal carbon research lab they have established for this one. So now the majority of the concern was just recognized, but in Asian region or Indian region, we are lacking so many established linkage to do work in that particular sense. So that's why this type of the session is required. That's why I've just come here to dialogue with you, to discuss with you regarding this one. Otherwise, I may be available with different panel also. Whatever the discussion you want me, I can also available. And so many other things, scientific basis, we can also engage with the collaborative way, if anybody wants.
Sir,
Yeah,
this is Rajat Soni, sir.
yeah.
Yes, sir. First of all, I am very happy to attend this kind of session, sir. This was very
Thank you, Rajat.
insightful for me. And it was an insightful session, sir. A lot of studies are going on and a lot of clippings I keep watching through social media, sir. Right now, I'm an industry personnel, so we'll be looking at this study from the view of carbon conservation, sir. Carbon storage projects are there. Now ministries are coming up with the projects, like every project proponent has been told that you need to come with some kind of a plan for decarbonization and carbon storage, which is CCS, which is mainly very, very costlier, and we are not able to do. Some pilot studies has already been done in Europe and all those places, but which is very, very expensive. Right now, as of now in India, if we will see, we are cutting the forest and it is on the verge. And we are providing the compensatory afforestation, and it has been told as per the research that what we are compensating in terms of clear cutting of the forest, it can only reduce, it is 7 times less in terms of carbon sequestration. So, sir, in terms of that, I was looking forward that mangroves can do it better. Mangroves have more capacity to sequestrate, like existing forests which have more capacity to sequestrate. But in reference to that, I want a simple answer from your side, sir, that this kind of wetland, as I have already seen in the picture, that the carbon influx was around 800 or 900 in comparison to that CH4 and all those emissions and CO2 emissions were very less. So I can clearly see that there is some kind of carbon sequestration is going on, because there is a lot much difference, like around 500 to 700 was the difference. So that much of carbon has already been accumulated in that particular ecosystem or as a teal carbon. So can we use as a carbon storage, sir, if some industries develop this kind of ecosystems around their areas, so they will be able to sequestrate it or not, sir?
Yeah, definitely. It's a very great question you are just asking. And even though in terms of the mangrove vegetation, I would just like to share that we are also going the study in the Gulf of Khambar, Gulf of
Yes, sir.
Kutch. We are
Yes,
also
sir.
going our study, and even the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And you
Yes, sir.
see, these type of studies is without funding is
Yes,
very,
sir.
very challenging. So we have done this type of studies
Yes,
till
sir.
now without any cost, without a single penny. We are just spending this one.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You
sir.
know, and we have taken even the LICOR instrument on the demo basis. We have taken from the company
Yes, sir. I have seen
itself,
it, sir.
and without any single, and it's a cost of 80 lakh or 90 lakh rupees particularly.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
we
sir.
don't have this much amount, and even though a lot of money is required, this type of research work, but definitely
Yes, sir.
we are doing this type of job. We are doing this type of interest showing because we have to do something for the adaptation mechanism development in terms of the greenhouse gas emissions. And
Yes, sir.
a true sense, you can say definitely you are also very true that the industry also plays a significant role in terms of the mitigation of the climate change or carbon
Yes, sir.
emission in that way. So different type of the nature-based solution method should be adopted priority-wise.
Yes, sir.
So
That
that,
is very
so
critical
that
nowadays.
in India, we cannot afford so much technologies. You know, in the prior region, in Delhi, you see different smoke tower was established, and the amount of the smoke tower was 20 crore rupees per tower was
Yes, sir.
established, and
Yes,
no
sir.
any significant results was shown. You know, so this type of the wastage of money should be, you know, stopped, and we have to create the nature-based solution to each and everybody that can be affordable. So that
Yes,
type
sir.
of the research is needed.
Yes, sir.
No point is that we are just going for the different kind of the research, and lot of publication we have published every year. But
Yes,
what
sir.
is the mechanism? What is the solution for this one?
Yes, sir.
Can we identify the solution? Can we mitigate the particular things in a particular domain? And we can.
Yes,
This
sir.
is the pilot study. That if the successful result is find out, then we can adopt in a larger manner. And ultimately, we have adopted that the signal is showing that the result is showing a good amount. It means
Yes, sir.
it can be elaborated more. The
Yes,
possibility
sir.
is
It
there.
can be elaborated, sir. Sir, my basic question was, sir, that in that carbon influx and outflux, can we go to that slide, sir?
Yeah. That can be checked also. That can be
So
checked
what
also.
is the source of carbon which is coming through influx, sir? What is that source of carbon in the particular ecosystem or wetland, sir?
In the particular wetland, actually if I'm already telling, if the wetland is polluted, then it will become as a source for the carbon emission. And if
Yes, sir.
wetland, inland wetland, if the inland wetland is pure wetland, pure means the water is not polluted, non-polluted
Yes, sir.
water is there, then it may be the sink of the particular emission. So it depends on the quality of the water, it depends on the characteristic of the water, it depends on the particular type of the vegetation in a particular environment. That's how they are dealing with this one. That's why I'm telling that different climatic factors, different factors, not only a single land surface temperature or the water availability or the polluted, either polluted or not, or the so many other biomass, so many factors are responsible for dealing this type of situation. So this
Yes,
is a
sir.
very, very preliminary studies I'm telling, and
Yes, sir.
definitely the floor is open to discuss, and it is all of decide and in their own way that what they are dealing with this one and how they can create the things much more better in future.
Yes, sir. Nowadays, sir, what has happened, sir? 1 second, I will be connecting through my other device, sir. Right now, I am connected, sir. I just joined. Sir, nowadays, what is happening is we are facing a lot of trouble due to the conditions directly coming from the ministries and sir. Sir, are you able to hear me, sir?
Actually, this is the second part actually. That is the administrative part, ministry side or what they are doing or not
Yes, sir.
doing. That is the
And
different way,
it
because
is an
lot of
areas.
organizations are doing
Yes, sir.
doing their own way to mitigate the climate change situation. But
Yes, sir.
as per the scientific community, I think we have to think about this one, that why we are doing this type of things, and how we can implement for the better scientific approach in that way.
Yes, sir. The kind of can
You can let me discuss. You can
to
let me discuss on my email ID, and we can talk to you.
yes, sir. Yes,
We
sir.
can talk to each other. No
Yes,
problem.
sir. Definitely,
I
sir.
cannot.
It was
I'm just
a
listening.
really
Problem is there.
insightful discussion, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
It is a very, very insightful discussion,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir.
So we have
So
one more
Deepu,
query
it's
in the
over to you.
chat. So we have one more query in the chat.
Which one?
It's
Yeah.
again from Ruhal, Dr. Ruhal.
My second query is about the procedure adopted for CH4 emission monitoring in wetlands. How many ground truthing points were taken in CMP? Yeah, in that way, Dr. J. Pandian was asking me regarding this one. So CH4 emission monitoring points in the particular wetlands, we have selected the site as a 4 sampling site we have selected for this one. 4 sampling sites in different vegetative parts. We have selected in the Kevladev National Park only, and 2 more sites we have taken in the marshy vegetation areas in our Central University site. We have taken for the estimation, but definitely it's a pilot study, and it's a continuous monitoring is required. That's why we are not able to take so many more points because so many other requirement is also there, and funding is also a very crucial point. So as per our availability, as per our resources management, we have done this type of study for the 4 points in the Kevladev National Park in with different locations, which is particularly keeping in view of this, particularly the coordinate system of the classification that we are dealing with the teal, particularly teal carbon. Any other question? Yeah, did you find any correlation between CH4 emission and water depth? Yeah, we have find out the correlation because our study is totally based on the classification we have determined in terms of the teal carbon, how we can determine the teal carbon. So our study was based on, because the water depth should be more than 1 meter, then only we can take an up to 6 meters. So 1 to 6 meters of the height of the water depth we have taken care with this our experiment.
I hope there is no further questions from the side of the participants.
Is there any question?
No. Thank you, Professor, for presenting on the work you have done on the teal carbon. Just to add to what you had mentioned over here, the fluxes in carbon cycles happening in the inland wetlands needs to be studied more intrinsically, because the carbon cycles can present missing or double counting the effects of wetlands on the atmosphere. To say everyone is talking about the CH4 gas emissions happening from the wetlands, which is a anoxic sediment from the anoxic sediments, but the same anoxic sediments promote the methanogenesis, and which is essential for the carbon sequestration. So this is a kind of there needs to be a deciphering of the magnitude and origin of these emissions, which should be the key step in better understanding on the carbon sequestration potential of the teal ecosystems. So thanks, Professor, for sharing the details on the teal carbon study, which you are currently carrying out in the inland wetlands, which can act as a naturally inspired solution. and thanks to the participants who had attended the meeting. I would like to place on record our special thanks to Dr. Angela Andrade, the IUCN CM Global Chair, and Dr. Shalini Dhyani, Asia Vice Chair, for hosting this dialogue, and looking forward to meet you all again in the next CM dialogue scheduled for the next month. Once again, thank you all for joining in, and hope you will be having a nice week. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ripu, for this wonderful opportunity you have just provided me. And I just again thankful to all the audience, those who are attending this session. If you have any query regarding this one, they can mail me. My mail is already sorting this one, so they can mail me regarding this one, and any type of the opportunities to collaborate with this type of research work. This is open for me from my side. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity to present here. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.